Please welcome our Mayor, Buddy Dyer.
Good afternoon. I'm Mayor Buddy Dyer, and I'd like to welcome you to our July 11th Orlando City Council meeting. We're going to begin today's proceedings with the invocation offered by Reverend Lisa Heilig of Joy Metropolitan Community Church. The church is located just south of downtown in Wadeview Park. It's been in existence for 32 years, and Reverend Heilig has been the pastor for just 9 months. So welcome to our community. Joy Metropolitan serves the community in a variety of ways, including operating an emergency food bank, an annual Thanksgiving food drive, and support for individuals with HIV/AIDS. They're an active part of the Zebra Coalition. I just did a PSA for the Zebra Coalition, which is a network of organizations which provide services to gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender youth, particularly those that are being bullied or are homeless. Reverend Heilig's invocation will be followed by the pledge led by District 3 Commissioner Robert Stewart today. If everyone would please rise.
Let us take a moment. Let's take a moment of prayer or meditation or reflection, however we envision that. Let us take a moment as our meeting begins today. O source of all life and love, we come today. We come today a grateful people, grateful for our lives and for the love that we have and share, for the tasks we have been set to, the work we have been given to do, the calling we have been given to answer. We ask that as we do so, that we would open ourselves to the spirit of wisdom, to be led and guided by that spirit to make wise and good decisions, for the benefit of all of our beloved city of Orlando, and especially for all of its diverse people. We ask not only for wisdom, but for compassion, that we would use not just our heads, but our hearts in service to our city and its people, that we would remember especially those less fortunate, the homeless and the hungry. We ask for blessing over our city, its people, our resources. Bless our businesses and our economic development, our parks and recreation, our police and fire departments, our venues and public works, all of our faith communities, all of our many kinds of families, and especially our young people, that they may grow healthy and strong. We ask a special blessing upon each leader here. Help us, even as this business meeting is conducted, to see beyond small problems and work together in cooperation for a happier and healthier community. And so we ask this. We ask all of this in the name of all that is holy. Blessed be, namaste, and amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's officially call the meeting to order. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll and make a determination of a quorum, please?
Commissioner Diamond?
Here.
Commissioner Ortiz?
Here.
Commissioner Stewart?
Here.
Commissioner Sheehan?
Here.
Commissioner Lineham?
Here.
Commissioner Ings?
Here.
Mayor Dyer?
Here.
Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. First order of business is consideration of the minutes from the June 27th, 2011 workshop agenda review and city council meetings and the June 28th special Sunrail workshop. Commissioner Lineham moves approval.
Second.
Commissioner Sheehan seconds the motion. All in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, so the motion carries. We have one presentation or award recognition, a 25-year service award. Rebecca, will you do the honors?
I certainly will, Mayor. I'd like to ask Lucy Cole to come up. Lucy started her career with the City of Orlando in June of 1986 at the Orlando Police Department in Communications, where she worked as a radio dispatcher and shift supervisor for over 17 years. Lucy was involved in writing the policies and procedures and the training of employees when the first computer-aided dispatch system, known as CAD, was implemented in the early 90s. She worked as a shift supervisor and was certified as a criminal justice instructor for the Florida Department of Law Enforcement and taught new police recruits radio and teletype procedures at the Police Academy. During these years, she also went back to school to complete a Bachelor of Science degree in accounting at the University of Central Florida, which she earned in 2000. She passed the CPA exam and became a certified public accountant for the state of Florida in the spring of 2003. And in December of 2003, fortunately for us, she transferred to City Hall to a position in financial reporting where she has worked for the last 7.5 years with a team that prepares the city's annual financial report. And she's responsible for the accounting and recording of all the financial activities related to the Orlando Venues projects, as well as risk management and all the city's capital assets. Lucy just recently completed a Master of Science degree in accounting at UCF in August of 2010, and she is a member of the Central Florida chapter of the Florida Government Finance Officers Association and the Florida Institute of Certified Public Accountants. Judy cites her greatest accomplishments as her 3 children. She has a daughter, Emerald, also an FSU grad, and 2 young sons, Daniel and David. And Lucy enjoys spending time watching her sons play soccer, baseball, basketball, and piano, and assisting committees with school events at their elementary school. When she has spare time, she loves to relax playing golf. I want to extend my warmest congratulations to Lucy Cole on her 25th anniversary.
Okay, let's move into the mayor's update. I want to take time today to honor and remember former mayor, Mayor of Orlando, Carl Langford. Many of you know that he passed away over the last weekend, and it was nice when we dedicated the Jernigan's facility over in the Amway Center. Well, I better make sure everybody knows that Jernigan's is named after the first settler that was here in Orlando, Aaron Jernigan. And originally the settlement that became Orlando was called Jernigan. So the restaurant is named after the first name of Orlando, but we had a dedication. And we had Mayor Langford, Mayor Hood, and Mayor Frederick were all there, and that was the last time that we were all together with Mayor Langford. But he was a great mayor and leader in our community, and had a life. He had a very fun-filled spirit, and as you can see from some of the photos, was always in good temper, and is probably known most for, yeah, there you go, known most for his vision relating to the Orlando International Airport. Under his watch, it was acquired, and some of the additional property in the terminal building was started. I don't think it was actually completed while he was mayor. I think it was completed while after Mayor Frederick had become mayor, but it started under his watch. So it's a sad time, but he had a full life. He lived to be 92 years old and was still witty till the very end. So he will certainly be missed, and everybody should be thankful for what he has given to the city of Orlando. So if you would, let's take a moment of silence in honor of Mayor Langford. Thank you. And I think I have heard that his service will be on Wednesday, but I don't have a time or place for that. I want to take a moment and wish Commissioner Sheehan a happy birthday. Is it fair to tell that it's a
29?
It's 50. It's all good.
Okay, it's Commissioner Sheehan's 50th birthday, and although the actual date was, I guess, last week, how about if we sing happy birthday to Commissioner Sheehan? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Daddy. Happy birthday to you. All right, a couple of good news items. We rededicated the Lake Eola Fountain on July 4th and had a tremendous fireworks show, and the fountain worked, which is a good thing. I had told Rick Howard, our Public Works Director, don't bother showing up for work on Monday. You flip the switch and the fountain doesn't light up and the water doesn't start shooting out, but everything went great. It was a fabulous fireworks show after the fountain was lit up. Also, last month, I was part of an announcement, a press conference, taking note of a company that is not well known in our community, but has a tremendous impact, and that is Connections. Their world headquarters is located here in Orlando. They have about 1,200 jobs currently in Orlando, and in the next 3 months, they want to add 1,200 additional jobs. So they are hiring. Last Thursday, there was a job fair here, and I'm pleased to report that 50 people were hired through that job fair for jobs with Connections. So if you go to the City of Orlando website, you can get information on our Strengthen Orlando page about job creation efforts in the city and some of the jobs that are available. This morning, we had a work session on our 2011-2012 budget. And I want to compliment our commissioners because of the hard work that they have done along with city employees. We were able to announce that unlike many cities around the state of Florida, we will not be challenged with a budget shortfall this year. We are, in essence, balanced with a moving forward budget. Not a whole lot of new stuff, but we're not going to have to cut any of the existing stuff that we're doing, and we're able to maintain our reserves at 25%, which is our goal. We're going to do that without raising taxes. We're holding our millage rate the same as it is, which already is the lowest of any major city in the state of Florida. And I can say without equivocation that Orlando is in the best financial shape of any major city in the state of Florida, and your residents can be proud of that. Next step in our budget process will be to adopt the proposed millage rate at the July 25th meeting. I'll give the budget address then, and then we'll have 2 public hearings on September 12th and 19th before we formally adopt the millage rate and budget. Okay, a lot of people are dressed in orange here today, and I'd like to recognize the folks that are here with us today from the Boone High School crew team. So Victor Jordan is the president, and Meg Ramus is a math teacher and the team's school sponsor. Meg teaches Algebra 2, or will be next year. And then the Boone Rowers. Why don't you guys all stand, all the Boone Rowers? And they tell me they're quite good, that every one of the rowers that is here today has medaled in one competition or another. So let's give them another hand. and then you guys sit down, and how about the parents stand up, because they're the ones that support all these young rowers, and we appreciate them being here and supporting the team. And the reason they are here today is because there's a license and operation agreement for Braves Rowing, Inc., which is this rowing team, for the use of the city's boathouse and dock at Bill Frederick Park at Turkey Lake. So congratulations, and put that to good use, and bring us a few state tournaments or national tournaments out there too. So thank you for being here. Last item that I have is, has anybody noticed that it's pretty hot outside? Maybe in the high 90s and humidity. So I thought that since we were in the thick of the summer, that we would help our employees and ourselves beat the heat a little bit. And I want to make a special announcement that we will be declaring the dress code for city staff during the months of July and August as business casual. So that means you can go without a tie. Female commissioners, I'm not sure what that means for you guys. What you can go without pantyhose or something, I suppose. But I'm not sure that a lot of people wear that anymore in the summertime. No coats. Okay. Anyway, so business casual at the city for the next couple of months. And then we will, the one item of interest that I would comment on is our neighborhood improvement district ordinance that will be coming up on first reading, but we will have a discussion related to that when we get to it. So with that, we will move on to the consent agenda, and the consent agenda has a number of items that will be acted upon through a single vote of council. We give each of our council members an opportunity to comment on the items on the consent agenda, as well as to update you on things of interest from their districts, and we take turns on who goes first, and today it is District 3 Commissioner Robert Stewart.
Thank you, Mayor. Let me start by saying happy birthday to Commissioner Sheehan. Thank you. Wonderful party the other night, and I got a chance to give her a hug on her 50th birthday, so congratulations. Let me cover a couple of quick things. On the agenda, we had a good meeting this morning on the workshop to talk about what we're doing in public safety. I appreciate Chief Rooney and Chief Miller sharing some of their comments today. But today is a good example. We'll be approving 2 applications for grants from OPD, items H3 and H4. And it's a chance for us to leverage what we do with some federal funding and some state funding. This happens to be state funding for these applications. So we hope that those will go through, and we'll be able to buy and get some additional capital equipment for our police department. This morning I had an opportunity to go and spend some time at the Marine Corps Monument at Veterans Park. It was a wonderful ceremony. I think it tops out the number of monuments that we have over there, Orlando Veterans Park, and there's a wonderful monument now in honor of those who have served in our Marine Corps, put out by the Marine Corps League, I think it's called. So excited about being there. You get a chance to go over there. It is one of the top monuments there, with a gorgeous brass piece on top, or bronze piece on top of the Marine Corps logo. So it's just a really neat place to go, just to reflect on those who have sacrificed for our country and remembering them. Let me make a quick announcement that tomorrow evening the FDOT District 5 will be doing a special meeting about the John Young Parkway extension. It's going to be held over at the American Legion at 1912 Lee Road. So if you get a chance to come over, please get a chance to come and look at the plans. It's an open house format from 5 to 7. It will be over there right on Lee Road, like I said. If you're on the Facebook with my account, I just send some information out on Facebook to remind you about it. But please come and learn about the intersection of John Young and Lee Road and 441 and the work they're going to be doing there pretty soon. So I want to mention that. Thursday night is Bastille Day over in Audubon Park Garden District. It's to celebrate and get a chance to bring the community together. I appreciate Kat Quast and what she's doing. But for more information, you can check their website out. We'll start at 6:30 on Thursday evening. And Mayor, if you allow me a little bit of indulgence with information or some thoughts about Mayor Lankford. Many of you may not have known, but Mayor Lankford actually wrote a book. So I thought it would be best, instead of having me share some of my thoughts about Mayor Lankford, who is a friend of ours and has been a friend of ours forever, I thought I'd let Mayor Langford share some thoughts today. So if you'll indulge me just a moment or two. Opening paragraph. As someone once said, politics is the only profession that requires no training. I can go one stage better than that. Politics is the one profession that requires no training, no experience, no education, no college degree, and no brains. All you need is the ability to get elected. And if at first you don't win, then why not just try again? Politics, after all, is the art of making deep sounds from the chest. Sound as if they are important messages from the brain. Politics is the art of being able to sit on a fence while at the same time keeping both ears to the ground. Anatomically speaking, that's practically impossible. And my favorite definition of politics is the art of looking for trouble, finding it everywhere, diagnosing it improperly, and applying unsuitable remedies. That's the way most people in government operate. But somehow, most of them bumble their way through to victory. Politics is an ego trip. The guy who claims to seek public office because he wants to represent the people, or he wants to help his community, or he wants to serve his country, is not lying deliberately or knowingly. He believes it. Actually, he's more likely he's seeking recognition, compensating for some ill-defined feeling of insecurity. He usually never made it quite as big as an athlete or a singer or an actor. Occasionally, but frequently, a neophyte politico decides on his own that he would do a better job than the incumbent. However, he's conned by his few friends into offering himself for public service to, as he quote says, make the world safe for democracy. Rarely does that happen. A newcomer, whatever his motivation, defeats an incumbent and actually can do a better job than the guy he beat. Keep in mind, nonetheless, that the newcomer wasn't elected because those few citizens took the trouble to go to the polls, had any knowledge that the challenger was more intelligent or more capable or more qualified. Chances are the challenger was elected because he had more billboards and more hair than the incumbent. What motivates me, he says, I was born and raised in Orlando. I went to school here. I always was very proud of Orlando. When I got out of military service, I finished up my college education and returned to Orlando and went into business with an old boyhood chum, and we worked together and made a lot of money. Spent every dime of it in about 15 years. I really didn't pay any attention to politics, local politics or state politics. I knew who the mayor was, but I didn't pay any attention to what city government was doing because my ox wasn't being gored. So I really didn't have any problems. He goes on to say that he got involved because a friend of his invited him to go to the funeral of President Kennedy. He had supported Nixon previous to that, but I became aware of Kennedy as he served the office and admired him greatly. So I secretly was enamored with Jackie, at least with her image, and I got to looking around after that and got to thinking about, well, you know, I'm certainly not going to be President of the United States or Governor of the state of Florida. Well, what about my own hometown? Let me close with these two things briefly. He says, I can't grow any hair on my head, so I'm going to grow it on my face. He had a gorgeous mustache. I've got so little hair on my head that if I got dandruff, I would consider it a privilege. I went to a convention one time, and I knew most of the people there, but I hadn't seen them in a long time. The one guy came up to me and said, Mayor, are you using Grecian Formula 16 on your hair? I acted miffed, and I said, of course not. With a little bit of hair I've got, I can only get by with Grecian Formula 3.5. Like the mayor throwing out the first ball, giving out the keys to the city, has always been done. It's traditional. The city has some keys that are just too tacky looking. Someone tried to save money on them. I've never been one to try to give away keys, but I found that the people who get them do really appreciate them. I tell them the keys won't unlock any bank vaults, but it will unlock the hearts of the people of Orlando. And with that, Mayor, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Commissioner. That was great. Commissioner Sheehan?
Well, Mayor Langford was always best in his own words, and I will always remember him playing taps in his Superman suit as he left City Hall. So He was really a character, so he will be missed, and he was always a fixture in City Hall, even until the day he died. He was always around, so it's a tremendous loss to us. I want to congratulate FPR on a Bikes Belong grant, $7,500 for the Lake Druid Mountain Bike Park, which is very exciting. I want to thank everybody that worked on the Lake Eola Fountain. It was absolutely breathtaking during the 4th of July. Thank everyone from FPR and everyone from facilities and Rebecca Sutton, everybody that made that happen. Thank you so much, because it was really, really wonderful for the 4th of July. There is going to be more fountain memorabilia available in about 3 to 4 weeks, but then once we go through that, that'll be gone. So if you want a piece of fountain memorabilia, make sure that you get online and get in the queue for that right away. A couple things on the agenda today on the Braves rowing team. I'm very proud of y'all. I know that you've had a lot of challenges that you've had to deal with over the past month, but let me tell you, when you go through adversity and something bad happens to you, you know, things usually end up working out in the end, and y'all will be okay. However, all we can help you, we'll be glad to do that. But we want to make sure you get new boats and get new docks and get the things you need to do to be able to succeed. So we're really glad to be able to support you here today. On item C1, I'm very pleased to see historic property tax exemptions granted. We're probably going to be seeing more of those. And on I6, I want to thank the Public Works folks for working on the Lake Holden Alum system. And that's all I have today, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. We'll move to Commissioner Lineham.
Thank you. Just a few announcements and nothing much for the agenda. I see Commissioner Sheehan has finally surpassed me in age. She's celebrating her 50th, and I'm still on my 31st. So happy birthday again, Patty.
Thank you.
And I think the Boone Crew, I remember 1999 or 2000, we were working with the Boone Crew for Catalina Owl at that time, before we were able to, as we were finishing up the new Rio Grande Park. And it didn't work, so you guys went out to Bill Frederick. And it was something that community really wanted you, but we just couldn't get the technical pieces together. It was like 2000, I think it was, 99 to 2000. So I'm glad you've been settled for quite a while. Laurie, are you handling the Boone Crew? Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, okay. I see you sitting there like I didn't see your orange shirt. Thank you. You're talking about the 4th of July. I'm sorry, as usual, I can't get down to the park. But my next door neighbor did get to the park, came back, and kept us up until after 3 a.m. He thought the fountain was great, but he wasn't done drinking beer, so he joined us in the backyard. But it did light up my backyard for a long time. And talking about the 4th, the Braces went to the White House to watch the fireworks up there. So it was great. A few more things with OPD training workshop this morning. I was just really happy to hear the chief announce again and again the dash cameras and, of course, the futuristic lapel tie cameras coming for OPD, along with their training. So this is a good way to keep the officers safe and, of course, the community safe, too. The funny thing about 3 items on the agenda regarding E-Verify, it really costs money to do this, but more importantly, and I do want us to pay attention, I don't know about anybody else's community. I am very, very circumspect of some of the companies. I don't see hardly anybody working from these communities. I see lots of folks who could or could not be unauthorized. So this E-Verify, I hope that it does accomplish what it's supposed to. I hope that's one of the aims, is to make sure we have authorized folks working on these jobs, and that they are paid a prevailing wage anyway. And I think the reason why some of these companies, I believe, in my own opinion, are cheating is to undermine the workforce and to cheat workers. I don't care where you're from, you ought to be paid just what your self-worth is or the job is worth, and maybe get some of the contractors out of the cheating business. And of course, I've noticed on the agenda too, more and more local firms, local companies, whether it's Jacksonville, I saw that as an almost outlier, but just local in terms of Longwood, Winter Park, and I'm really, really pleased to see that on the agenda. Now for Mayor Mayor Carl Langford. I met Carl Langford, Mayor Langford, in 1969. He had started proceedings on the Human Relations Department. And we had read about it as we were trying to form a committee up in Leesburg, where I lived at the time. And we came over, and believe it or not, Mayor Langford just called over for an appointment, got it, and he helped us or advised us on how to start a human relations department. Well, we had no city, we had no money, so what we did, the way communities do, we started a committee, and were able to do quite a bit based on the influence of Mayor Langford. Mayor Langford really was a fixture, and until Albert Nelson's death, of all the places you would find a mayor, he would be over the AMVETS. And I don't even think he was drinking, but he would hang out with all of those people drinking all day. Well, I never saw him drinking during his time, but I'm like, Mayor, you just sit over there and they're just drinking and toasting all day long, and maybe he was, but he was my superhero and a great role model for community engagement and involvement. My sympathies to the family. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner, and we'll move on to Commissioner Ings.
Thank you, Mayor. And I'd like to say my deepest sympathy to the family as well concerning Mayor Carl Langford. Mayor Langford was a great Orlando mayor, and he was a champion of and founder of the City of Orlando's Office of Human Relations, which was a great thing, and it is still working for us today. And he stood firmly for protecting the civil rights of all individuals, and specifically during the time when Orlando was going through some civil unrest, he really got involved and got community leaders together to quiet some of the storm that occurred in Orlando, and Orlando progressed into an even greater city. Mayor Langford was also a police officer. As mayor, he went through the police academy, and you can see his picture down in the city rotunda standing next to Chief Robert Tuning, who was chief at that time in his full uniform as well. But Mayor Carl Langford will be sorely missed, and my sympathy to his son Tom and his two daughters, and to Tom's wife. And Tom was a lieutenant with the Orlando Police Department as well. So again, we're going to miss you, Mayor Langford. As it relates with the agenda, item B11 with the Braves rowing, this is an opportunity to pick up the pieces and to continue to move forward. And I'm a graduate of Boone High School, kids, and 70 is when I graduated from Boone High School. Mr. Jim Baines was the guidance counselor at the time, and I served in the office with him. And he was one individual that really put his arms around me and embraced me, and embraced a lot of the students and the diversity that was occurring at Boone High School at that time. So I had some great times at Boone High School and would always remember and support Boone High School. And so congratulations to you on this contract to house the Braves rowing team there at Turkey Lake. And Turkey Lake Park is in my district, so if you have any problems with the park manager or the park director, you can just give me a call. Isn't that right, Lisa? All right. I'd also like to report, too, that Star 94.5 on June the 11th hosted their old school block party in the front of Orlando City Hall. And this was the first time the station used the venue, and needless to say, it was a major success, with an estimated of 10 to 13,000 attendees in front of City Hall. The acts included the winners of Orlando's Next Best Big Star, local favorite Silky Smooth, and Grammy-nominated R&B group Biv DeVoe. And South Orange Avenue was filled with great entertainment, lots of vendors, food, all pouring back into the city's economy. And Mayor Dyer was there also on hand and unveiled the 2011 Ford Focus Drive with the Purpose Tour, which actually helped raise money for the Paramore Kids Zone. And I believe, Mayor, they raised about $27,000 for the Paramore Kids Zone. And Orlando did win that contest. Many other cities throughout the state of Florida and Orlando came in #1. The biggest surprise of the night was special guest, nationally syndicated radio host Tom Joyner was on hand, and Tom Joyner actually left behind the VIP area and walked through the crowds and said hello to many of the people out there. He introduced Bev Biv DeVoe and even took a few pictures with the crowds. Gilbert Young, a renowned artist, was there on hand, and he actually drew President Barack Obama, and President Barack Obama signed this particular picture of his, so to add some more authenticity to his work. But Star 94.5, Mayor, would like to thank you and all of the commissioners and your support. Thomas Chapman, Downtown Development Board Executive Director, for your support. This was one event that made downtown Orlando an inclusive city. And I'd like to thank Debbie Morrow, Program Director for 94.5, Monica May, Ms. B, Leslie Brewington, and JoJo O'Neill. They are on-air personalities, and they were on hand to be a part of this celebration. As a part of the National Night Out celebration, which will be held on August the 2nd, 2011, there was a theme contest for all of the City of Orlando Neighborhood Watch communities to enter. We had judges from the Orange County Sheriff's Office, and they made their selections using the following guidelines: use of theme, creativity, neighborhood involvement, crime prevention usage, and clarity. Winning parties had creative crime prevention themes that tied into Orlando's Neighborhood National Out theme. The winners selected were as follows: first place prize, Carver Shores Community in District 6 theme, the Crime Stopper Carnival, and the party will be held at Poppy Park on August the 2nd from 5 to 8:30 p.m. The second place prize winner also comes out of District 6, Metro West Community. Theme, Stomp Out Crime. The party will be held at Metro West Golf Club on August the 2nd from 6 to 9 p.m. And the third place prize also comes out of District 6, Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Boys to Men, Preparing Our Future Community Leaders, and their party will be held at the Dr. James R. Smith Center on August the 2nd from 4 to 6 p.m. Also in line with National Night Out, I have that I sponsor every year, the Crime Prevention and Awareness Week, and that will be from August the 1st through the 6th of this year, and August the 2nd, of course, is National Night Out, and then August the 5th is the Red Tie Golf Celebrity Extravaganza. That's a piece that I'm hosting that will help raise funds for many of the programs and projects that I put on in District 6, specifically helping the youth and the seniors throughout the district. And then on August the 6th, that Saturday, we will have a crime awareness walk where we will be walking from Washington Shore Shopping Center on West Columbia Street, going west to Bruton Boulevard, and we will go south to the Dr. James R. Smith Center. And at that time, we will have a little celebration going on. Many of the youth march with us, and when they do, we put an armband on them, and once we get to the Smith Center and after our festivities, we give them back to school bags and school supplies. So if anybody wants to help and be a part of that, you're welcome to help supply us with some school supplies that we will give away to the youth. And then Frito-Lay, and this is in Commissioner Lynham's district, District 5. This Friday, July 15th, is having Frito-Lay Open House. It's going to be at their Orlando plant at 2800 Silver Star Road in Orlando from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. And this session will include a discussion on job opportunities within Frito-Lay. They will have breakfast and a tour of their manufacturing plant, and so I would encourage everyone to come out and take advantage of that. And then this past Saturday, on July 2nd, I helped to sponsor a Unity Day at Hankins Park, and we had a great event, and this was in conjunction with the Firstborn Church of the Living God, Sanford District. They opened up their hearts to the community and specifically fed so many people from the community. They had fun and games, and this lasted from 11 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. And so we celebrate with them and encourage them to continue to be a part of our community. And Mayor, that's all I have.
Thank you, Commissioner. We'll move to Commissioner Diamond.
Thank you. I would also like to express my condolences and offer my thoughts and prayers to Mayor Langford's family. I had an opportunity to get to know him and really liked him. And it seems like when someone passes away, you hear all sorts of stories and learn more about the person. And I know Mayor Langford will be missed. I also would like to congratulate all the people involved in renovating the Lake Eola Fountain. I thought it looked very nice also, and I was out there on July 4th, and just want to say thank you to all the folks that helped make that possible. It is good to see the Boone team here. You guys, it's good to see everything worked out. I want to thank you for all the good things the parents are doing, especially all the leadership. I also want to thank the staff from the city for working on this and getting a good resolution of the situation so that so the team could use Bill Frederick Park next year. And I wish you all calm waters and much success in the season to come and the years to come as you're there. A couple of items around the district I want to mention. I was able to take a tour last week with Daryl Flynn from the Orange County School Board of the new middle school down on Narcoossee Road, Lake Nona Middle School. That'll be opening in the next few weeks, August 22nd, I think. The school looks good, and it's good to see it coming along. I also want to congratulate the Oak Crest neighborhood. Every year they have a summer event, and they do such a nice job, and it's great to see that community getting involved and being active as a community and working together as a community and doing good things in their neighborhood as a community. So I want to thank all them and congratulate all them. On the agenda, I'll just mention a couple of items. I'll be voting no on A5. I talked about B11, which is the lease at Bill Frederick Park for the Boone Rowing Group, and I want to express my support for that. And then also express my support for two items with the police department. Their efforts to get grants for, number one, 15 cameras to put in the police cars to help with drunk driving and aggressive driving enforcement, and then also their efforts to secure a grant for 52 radios on item H4 as well. So thank you for doing that and looking for creative ways to help find ways to purchase things that we need for the city. So that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. And Commissioner Ortiz, you're batting cleanup.
The last one today. First of all, let me congratulate Boone High School for such an awesome team. We're very proud of you guys. Second, let me congratulate Commissioner Sheehan on her birthday once again. Commissioner Sheehan, you're like wine. You're just getting better. Okay. And express my sincere condolences to the family of Mayor Langford. He was a big fan of police officers, an extreme big fan. And I just want to say his footprints will always be present in the history of this city. On June 30, I attended the Azalea Park Little League All-Stars game. I was so impressed. In the past 20 years, we haven't seen something like that. Our park has come to life. The 5 fields were busy. We had families, we have kids playing, and there was great synergy. And I'm so proud because it's something we've been working for such a long time, and everybody over there was proud. I want to congratulate and thank Ms. Diane Culpepper from Bright House for sponsoring this year's all 36 uniforms for the kids of the league, and also Mr. David Dees, CEO of Kinco Electrical, and his staff for fixing the lights at the park. I want to thank them all very much for their support. 4th of July, I missed the event downtown, but I heard great things about it. I am really sorry I missed it, but I did see the font. The font looks great, so congratulations. I want to remind District 2 Neighborhood Leaders Council members, we have our next meeting on July 14th That's Thursday at 6:30 p.m. at Dover Church Community Center. Once again, you know, our team. We're expecting everybody. We have many things to discuss. And on the agenda, on hearings ordinance, the second reading, I'm looking forward to adopting the amendment that reduces the collection of transportation fees by 25%. That's something that's really going to help our businesses all around the city. It's a great opportunity. Ordinance first readings, approving an ordinance creating the Downtown South Neighborhood Improvement District. Commissioner Sheehan, thank you for your leadership. Mayor, this is a great system that's been implemented in the city. I'm looking forward to implement this in the Southeast with our Cimarron Business Partnership. We're following you guys' leadership, and our Cimarron Business Partnership is over 55 plus business people. So we're really looking forward. We already became a Market Street program, so we're looking forward to the next step, which would be the Neighborhood Improvement District. And for the police department, I want to congratulate you guys once again in the adoption of this grant. Hopefully it'll come through with no problems. Really looking forward to those radios and to those cameras. I sure do know that they're really needed. So that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Ings, second by Commissioner Sheehan. All in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, and so the motion carries. Okay, for everybody that had something on the consent agenda, that means it's approved. Wow. 52. Let's, without objection, recess the City Council meeting and convene the meeting of the CRA. And the only agenda item is accepting meeting minutes of the CRA Advisory Board from April the 27th. Is there?
Second.
Who was that? Commissioner Lynham? Motion by Commissioner Lynham, second by Commissioner Stewart. All in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? So the motion carries, and we will adjourn the CRA meeting without objection and reconvene the City Council meeting. And that brings us to hearings. Number 1, Madam Clerk.
A hearing to approve the First Amendment to the Second Amended and Restated DRI Development Order for the Florida Hospital Health Village DRI.
Is there anyone from the public that would like to testify? Close the public hearing. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Stewart, second by Commissioner Sheehan. Discussion, hearing none. All in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Hearings ordinance, second reading, Madam Clerk.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Orlando, Florida, annexing to the corporate limits of the City of Orlando, Florida, certain real property generally located north of West Amelia Street, south of West Colonial Drive, east of North Pine Hills Road, and west of North Mission Road, comprised of 1.530 acres, more or less, amending the city's adopted growth management plan to designate the property as industrial in the city's official future land use map, and designating the property as general industrial district on the city's official zoning map, providing for severability, correction of scrivener's errors, and an effective date.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Lynham, second by Commissioner Sheehan. Is there anyone from the public who would like to testify on this matter? Discussion among commissioners. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? So the motion carries. Number 2, Madam Clerk.
An ordinance of the City of Orlando, Florida, vacating, closing, and abandoning Cool Avenue, generally located between Underwood Street and Copeland Drive, providing for severability, correction of scrivener's errors, and an effective date.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Sheehan, second by Commissioner Ings. Is there anyone from the public who would like to testify on this matter? Discussion among commissioners. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Number 3, Madam Clerk.
An ordinance of the City of Orlando, Florida, vacating, closing, and abandoning a portion of South Magnolia Avenue, generally located between East South Street and East Anderson Street, providing for severability, correction of scrivener's errors, and an effective date.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Lynham, second by Commissioner Ings. Is there anyone from the public who would like to testify on this matter? Discussion among commissioners. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Number 4, Madam Clerk.
An ordinance of the City of Orlando, Florida, vacating, closing, and abandoning portions of East Princeton Street, East Smith Street, and Dade Avenue, generally located north of East Princeton Street, south of East Smith Street, east of Dade Avenue, and all west of North Orange Avenue, providing for severability, correction of scrivener's errors, and an effective date.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Stewart, second by Commissioner Sheehan. Is there anyone from the public who'd like to testify on this matter? Discussion among commissioners. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Number 5, Madam Clerk.
An ordinance amending Chapter 56, City Code, Transportation Impact Fee by amending Section 56.07, Transportation Impact Fee Rate Schedule to provide a reduction in transportation impact fee rates for a period of 1 year by providing severability and an effective date.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Sheehan, second by Commissioner Stewart. Is there anyone from the public who'd like to testify on this matter? Discussion among commissioners. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Number 6.
An ordinance of the City of Orlando, Florida relating to elections, amending Chapter 21 Orlando City Code to set municipal election dates and to conform terms of office to provisions within the city charter and city code, providing for severability, repeal of conflicting ordinances, codification, correction of scrivener's errors, and an effective date.
Move approval.
Motion by Commissioner Sheehan, second by Commissioner Stewart. Is there anyone from the public that would like to testify on this matter? The answer is yes. I have 3 cards. Vienna Avalares.
Good afternoon, Honorable Mayor, Commissioners. Thank you for allowing me addressing this commission this morning. I'm here because my biggest concern is...
Go ahead. State your name and a request
Oh, I'm
for the
sorry.
record.
My name is Vienna Lee Avalares. I live in District 2 of the City of Orlando, and I'm also running for commissioner in that district. So I'm very concerned about the elections and how it's been the time to candidates to be able to know when exactly we can qualify. My biggest concern is, and this is just constructive criticism to the city, how it was done. And today I'm here because it happened to be that I decided to come to find out, and I find out by showing up that this hearing was going to be taking place. There's nothing on the computer, nothing on the website stating what was going to be happening. It was, however, on one of the main newspapers. And this is a matter of concern. I'm sure that I'm not just the only candidate who's not an incumbent who needs to have this information ahead of time. It is easier for you as commissioners, if you're running for election, including you, Mr. Mayor, with all due respect, to find out this information because you're in-house. But the people that are not in-house cannot find out unless some, magic fairy comes and tells you, get dressed and go and show up. And that's what I did. I think that this needs to be reconsidered. You all have been where I am at some point in your lives. And I'm sure that you would have appreciated that at that time the city would have given you the dates in correct manner, and that you will have not to open the Orlando Sentinel to find out that the April 4th or 5th, it might be that you will be able to go out there and do your elections. I need to start knocking on doors. I need to get qualified. And still to this moment, I went this morning to the city clerk's office. They have no clue. Nobody knows what's going on. And as candidate, I was not informed. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. The election date will be the first Tuesday in April, and they'll be qualifying, how many days before that, Alana?
60 days
60 days before that, and we want to set a date that is certain right now. There had been questions whether it would be March 15th or whether it would float to the presidential primary. This gives certainty to everybody and will give all candidates an opportunity to walk in their districts, collect petitions, do whatever they want to do to get elected. Thank you for being here.
Honorable Mayor, with all due respect, could you please send a memo upstairs to the city clerk office because they don't know that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Did you take note of that, Alana?
I did.
Doug Head.
The city clerk don't know that.
Good afternoon. My name is Doug Head. I live at 800 Mayfair Circle in Orlando. I wore my jacket today not knowing that we were going to be taking them off for July and August. I note, Mayor, that you've lost weight in order to take off your jacket, so congratulations on that. I wanted to talk to you today just briefly about 2011-27, this ordinance that you are passing at this moment. At the first hearing on the ordinance, I spoke against it. And I want to just expand a little bit on my views on that matter. As a Democrat, I fought off all my life in opposition to suppression of voter participation. This is effectively what's going on here. And setting a date certain does not justify this suppression of voter participation. Moving the election date to the 3rd of April when it might correspond or might overlap with the elections of the presidential primary is wrong for the following reasons. It will produce lower voter participation. History tells us that in non-presidential years, voter turnout for municipal elections is in the single digits as opposed to being above 25%. You're going to have fewer voters at the polls. It's a big waste of money, approaching $150,000 for a separate municipal election date, separate from the presidential election date, which would be covered by the county elections process. The election date is potentially confusing, as the presidential primary could fall within 2 weeks of the municipal date you have now fixed as a date certain. Anyone knows that the process will significantly reduce participation of Republicans or Democrats who may turn out for what could be hotly contested primaries in either party, while few people will go back to the polls to vote for you. This damages your mandate for action going forward. With the potential for double absentee ballots being delivered to many voters, this is going to be an administrative nightmare and a very confusing situation for the voters who could get a ballot, an absentee ballot, and then another absentee ballot. As Ms. Avalares just said, not even the candidates know what's going on. I am asking today to refine this item. Although you may not have the capacity to do it, I certainly think it's within your power to revisit it. Please revise the proposed ordinance. Make it conditional on the selection of a presidential primary date more than a month before the early April Tuesday that you have set for your municipal elections, so there is no confusion in the minds of the voters. I will be unhappy with that result because it's still going to mean suppressed voter turnout. But it's not nearly as bad as the deliberate injection of chaos and confusion into the system, which will occur if you have a very close presidential primary to your municipal election date. And so I urge you to refine this motion or to do something to change it. Thank you very much. Thank you, Doug.
Linda Grund.
My name is Linda Grund, Orlando resident, District 4. Thank you, City Council, for the opportunity to share the concern again regarding this ordinance number 2011-27. Please recall, after the first reading, I did share there were issues with the validity of this ordinance, so I'll refer back to those comments and ask that you reconsider again, as there are more findings to share with you today. I brought to light after the first reading 2 weeks ago that there's a fiscal impact in having a special municipal election in the spring of 2012, and the concern that the fiscal impact information was not provided in the ordinance. Every ordinance asks the fiscal impact and it states none. This is not the truth. It has been previously reported that a standalone election cost the city over $100,000. However, when conducted with a presidential preference, it is just a few $1,000s. Orlando Weekly reported just this week it would save the city over $123,000. Makes sense. People are already out making a decision that impacts their community. The fiscal impact is being ignored. This ordinance not only creates more of a financial burden to our $1.6 billion debt in the city, but an inconvenience to residents who will be asked to get out and vote possibly weeks after being involved in the previous election. And there lies some confusion. Commissioner Phil Diamond called me Friday and shared the fact that the staff who prepared and presented this election ordinance, Kyle Shepard, contributed the maximum amount of $500 to the current mayor's election campaign. There are questions of a conflict of interest when staff preparing the election may possibly have a bias in creating this special election law being presented and prepared. Furthermore, it states the ordinance eliminates artificially lopsided partisan turnouts for nonpartisan city elections and presidential election years in which only one of the two major political parties is holding a meaningful contested presidential preference primary in Florida. The 2008 election was referenced as unique. However, the fact that the 2004 election was held with a presidential preference and that there was a Democratic primary at the time is not mentioned. As I stated before when I spoke up against this ordinance after the first reading, our city elections are nonpartisan. And so the validity of any party affiliation does not apply, period. Just thought it important to inform you as the misconstrued information, because some of you mentioned at the last meeting you didn't realize that the 2008 presidential preference was held at the same time. Well, it wasn't just 2008, it was in March of 2004, and there wasn't any proposal for a special election at that time. A commissioner also stated at the last meeting that hopefully the state will follow the date being proposed in the city ordinance. In reality, this is not possible because the date has been identified to fall between January and March. This ordinance asks for an April election, a month not previously used in this election, and makes this impossible for it to coincide with the state election date. I understand the issue that the date of the presidential preference is currently unknown. As a candidate, of course it would be nice to have a date right now. What about the best interest of the citizens, though, instead of the candidates? Those being asked to elect their leaders and pay for the election or the special election. The solution is simple. Wait until the date is set by the state and plan and prepare accordingly. There will be a date by October 1st. This gives candidates and the city plenty of time to plan and prepare. Encouraging efficiency and scheduling accordingly could address the redistricting issue that we have known about since the census was conducted. If there are issues with the date when it is released by the state, then there can be a discussion about the issues that need to be addressed. Creating a special law now for special interests is not the answer. Citizens deserve better. We deserve better. So I ask that you all reconsider your vote to allow this ordinance to become law after the second reading. Now that more of the truth has been brought to light, you all have the opportunity to act with integrity and on moral principle. Thank you.
Okay, we have a decorum rule here, and there is to be no clapping or hissing or booing or interrupting people's speeches. So for the remainder of the meeting, I'll let you guys do it a couple of times, but we need to cease on the clapping. Now, Ms. Grun, just to correct a couple of things, the current date by ordinance for the election would be March the 15th. So moving it from March 15th to the first week in April, there isn't a fiscal impact. There could be, if we took an affirmative action to move it to the presidential primary, there could be a savings. And then secondly, staff makes recommendations, but ultimately the decisions are made by the city council. So thank you for your testimony. Commissioner Lynham.
Normally, I wouldn't make a comment, but I wanted to really address the issue of voter suppression. And first, I never leave my integrity and moral principle behind when I walk in. I sort of carry it on my shoulder most of the time. But just a couple of things. And I know Mr. Head means well on this. And I do believe if there is an expense in the election changes, I understand that and I support not having additional expense. But I want to speak to an audience who really doesn't understand voter suppression. There was a time in this country where African Americans really could not vote, particularly all of them, even though men had the right to vote in the late 1800s. And it was called poll taxes. It was called count the beans in the jar, all kinds of foolishness, owning property. There's another suppression that's just happened this past year, and it didn't happen here in City Council. It happened in our state legislature. It's called getting ID cards, state ID cards. Whether you're 89, 99, no longer have a driver's license, you still got to have some kind of ID, but you still want to vote unless you vote at home through absentee. It means shortening the time for early voting. It means most college students, many, cannot vote in this state, because of the state legislature. I just want us to really look to what real voter suppression is, and that's a lot of it going around. And it impacts primarily poor people, particularly, especially African American and Hispanic communities. If there's anything else, I'm just not aware of it, and I'm very sensitive to anything to violate anybody's rights. But this one, if we're going to speak to it, we ought to be looking at our state legislators and what came out of that legislature that was so damning. And I don't hear anyone coming forth talking about that. And that is a painful, painful experience. It literally sent us back to almost pre-Civil War, right here in our own state. Not the city council by voting on this particular ordinance. It was the state legislature. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Diamond.
2 comments. I think it's likely that the primaries can be very close to when the date that we originally had in our code would have had our election. And I really think if the primary ends up being the first week in March and our ordinance would have said it would have been the second Tuesday in March, which I think would have been the 13th, I think that's just going to be a bad choice of dates, and I'm still concerned about the extra expense involved in having a separate election, so I'm still going to oppose this.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
No.
So it's 6-1. And it carries. Okay, ordinances first reading, Madam Clerk.
An ordinance of the City of Orlando, Florida relating to neighborhood improvement districts, amending Chapter 40, Orlando City Code to create the Downtown South Neighborhood Improvement District, providing jurisdictional boundaries for the district, providing powers of the district, including the authority to levy an ad valorem tax of up to 2 mills annually, subject to approval by referendum, and the authority to make and collect special assessments of up to $500 per parcel per year, subject to approval by referendum, providing for Board of Directors and Advisory Council, providing the authority to contract for district staff, requiring a neighborhood improvement plan, providing for notices to the state of Florida and for a referendum, providing for severability, repeal of conflicting ordinances, codification, correction of Scrivener's errors, and an effective date.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Sheehan, second by Commissioner Diamond. This is our first NID back in March after working for about a year on this. We had a presentation from Brooke Bonnet, our Director of ED, relating to the approval of the NID enabling ordinance, and now we have before us the creation or proposed ordinance for the creation of our first NID in the Downtown South neighborhood, and I wanted Kevin to tell us exactly what's in the ordinance and how we're going about doing this. Kevin.
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners. I'm Kevin Tyeski. I'm the Chief Planning Manager in the City Planning Division. And as the Mayor mentioned, this is the first reading of the ordinance creating the Downtown South Neighborhood Improvement District. For a little bit of background, about 9 months ago, City Council accepted the Downtown South Neighborhood Improvement District Exploratory Committee report. In that report, directed the city staff to prepare 2 ordinances. One was an ordinance allowing neighborhood improvement districts in the city generally, and the second one was specifically approving the Downtown South Neighborhood Improvement District. The first ordinance, the NID enabling ordinance, was adopted on March 28th, and that ordinance established the Orlando City Council as the governing board of NIDs in the city. It also required that every NID have an advisory council. It allowed NIDs only after they had been recommended by an exploratory committee. It allowed NIDS in the city's Main Street districts, plus 2 additional areas outside of the Main Street districts, and established thresholds for creating NIDS in the city. The other thing the ordinance did was it allows 2 types of assessments within a NID if approved by referendum. One is a special assessment of up to $500 per parcel, and the other is an ad valorem tax not to exceed 2 mills. Again, at this point, there are no assessments initially. Any assessment would require a referendum, and under the recommendations of the exploratory committee that were accepted by council, there would be no referendum until at least 18 months passes from the date the NID is created. The ordinance that we have today is creating the Downtown South NID, or Neighborhood Improvement District. This district is about 717 acres in size. It extends from the East-West Expressway on the north to Michigan, to the south side of properties on Michigan, on the south from I-4 to the rear property line of properties on the east side of Orange, and it also extends down Michigan to approximately Fern Creek. This area includes the 550 acres or so that was studied in the Downtown South Vision Plan, and it includes the Downtown South Main Street area. It includes both areas as recommended by the exploratory committee. Once the Neighborhood Improvement District is created, City Council will have to approve the establishment of an advisory council. Okay, that advisory council will include 5 members approved by City Council, and those members must either own property in the district, represent a corporate owner of property in the district, or reside in the district. The 5 members also have to include 1 member that's a representative of Orlando Health, 1 member that owns land in the district that's designated industrial, and 1 member that's either a member and representative of the Downtown South Main Street District, or the owner of land that abuts Orange and is in a mixed-use corridor or activity center land use designation. And those are the commercial designations. So once this ordinance is approved, the mayor will submit to the initial advisory board appointments for approval by City Council. That will be done within 90 days of the adoption of the Neighborhood Improvement District ordinance. Within 180 days of the adoption of that ordinance, City Council will approve the bylaws of the Board of Directors. And those bylaws will spell out the duties of the advisory committee. Okay, and the duties of the advisory committee will be consistent with the recommendations provided in the exploratory committee recommendations. Once the advisory board is established, they will begin work on their neighborhood improvement plan. And that plan will spell out the types of improvements, the types of work program that they want to accomplish once the district is up and running. They'll also be working on generating support for the referendum that would be required for any assessments to fund the district. So for at least 18 months after the district is created, they'll be working on getting support for the referendum. Okay, so we've been working in this area for 3 years now. I was looking back at my notes. In June 11th, 2008 is the first time we had a public meeting on the vision plan. So, and that's when we first began discussing ways to fund the improvements that will be needed for this area to grow and into what it can be. So, if you have anything for us, we're here. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Stewart has a question, or comment, and then Commissioner Diamond.
Kevin, thank you very much. I apologize. I'm just a little bit confused on the members, because I thought the members of the advisory board were 5 total.
Yes, there are.
Is
5
that-
total.
So members of a representative of the health, is it 5 plus 3,
No.
or those 3 are included in the 5? I guess that's
There's 5 total.
5 total, okay.
But 3 of them are specified.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Commissioner Diamond?
A couple things. On the members, you list 5 members, one of whom would need to be from the hospital, one of whom would need to be from the industrial area, one of whom can either be from Main Street or a property owner of retail property along Orange Avenue. And I guess it doesn't say retail, but I think that's what the intent is with what you have as far as mixed use or that similar classification. I would personally, I'd love to see somebody from Main Street on there, but I also think it's important that someone who's a property owner, a retail property owner, be on that board as well. I think one of the earlier versions that was circulating that I saw didn't include Main Street. I think it's a great idea to include Main Street, but I think we need to have someone who's a retail property owner as well, given that nothing's really going to happen unless you get a referendum approved by a majority of the people in the area. And I think of the people in that area, of the property owners in that area, I think probably the largest majority are retail property owners as opposed to anything else. And I would suggest that we have someone in that category that needs to be on that board. And I'm going to offer an amendment to that effect, that we have the four classifications, the industrial, the hospital, the Main Street, and the retail owner.
Well, there are 2 at large. There's 3 members that are specified, and then there's 2 at large. It can be a retail property owner. One of the Main Street representative may be a retail property owner. So I think it also depends on who's interested in serving on this advisory council. So.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're exactly right. But I think when it comes down to it, there needs to be buy-in from the people that own the property up and down Orange Avenue, because nothing happens unless the people in the area, or the owners in the area, approve it. And I think it's important to get those diverse opinions in at the outset, just so we can make sure that we've got all views represented. Yeah, as far as Main Street, I think they could bring a lot to that also. But I think it's really important to have someone who's a property owner, since they're the people that, at the end of the day, are going to have to vote on this.
Okay, so do you want to work with staff between now and the next meeting so that we have appropriate language if you're going to offer it as a motion and offer it at the next meeting?
Yeah, that's fine. I just think that'd be good to have that extra.
We'll see
category.
what the consensus of the council ends up being, but let's have language that we can actually look at. Commissioner Lynham?
That was my recommendation. I was thinking, since most of it is in your district, isn't it?
No,
it was both of your districts, isn't it? That I thought maybe you had been working with them all along, but I agree with you that you meet with them and just get it taken care of.
Yeah, no, it's pretty well split between District 1 and District 4. Although I think District 4's got a good amount more because it's got the hospital in there, and
at least that's one entity.
Yeah.
Commissioner Sheehan?
My only concern, Mayor, and again, this is, I just want to make sure that we don't make it so restrictive, because we've done that with the Historic Preservation Board, where we had certain neighborhoods that had to be represented, and I couldn't get anybody from that neighborhood, so then I couldn't fill the slot. So then we had to go back and amend the ordinance to allow me to have the flexibility in order to put somebody on the board. So I'm just concerned if we make it too restrictive on the outset, that we're going to have to go back and amend the entire ordinance just because we don't have a person from that specific, area or whatever.
But that'll never be your issue because everybody down there would own some property.
Well, my only there's a lot of industrial. There's there's other interests there too that might not just be retail. So that's my only concern, is making it so restrictive that we might not be able to fill it. But
I thought he said NR. Main Street property owner kind of situation.
I haven't seen any language, so again.
Well, Commissioner Lynham, to your question, yeah, right now it says Main Street or retail, and I thought you should have both, Main Street person and a retail person. And as far as Commissioner Sheehan's point, yeah, you don't want to have a board you can't fill, but by the same token, if you can't find people that are retail owners that want to serve or people that are on Main Street, it makes you wonder how many people there are out there that want to serve, because I know residents can do it, but there's not a whole lot of residents that actually live in this area, and I'm not sure how big the group of people is that you're going to have to choose from. Because you really don't have a whole lot of residents, and you really, I think the people who are going to be most interested are the ones who own property or operate businesses around there, and the hospital folks.
Kevin, draft an amendment or have an amendment drafted that would implement that, and then we'll just vote it up or down at the next.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. All right, that concludes the formal portion of our agenda. Take a couple-minute break here.